this is Chris for JamPlay.com, and you're watching another episode of Liepe's Licks. We are in part 3 of our layering effects over a backing track with Simple Lines series. That's kind of a long series name, but oh well. And we've moved on to the chorus in this track. We're going to borrow some of the effects from our verse and kind of tie it in, but then we're going to add more. Again, we're playing very simple things, but we're using strategic effects to let them sit in the track and provide some interest over an otherwise kind of basic rock groove. So we start, this looks like a D chord, but it's actually a G. And we go between this major pattern and then this kind of sus. It's really a substitute for the 4 chord over the track. And then I'm using the whammy bar in there to, whenever I go to this is a kind of a 5 chord, a G5 chord. Use the whammy bar to shake it a little bit. So that's really all you're doing until we get to the end, which I'll show you in a minute. But I have, like the last one, like this one, I have a dotted 8th ping-pong delay. So I took that same delay, except for I took the high cut off, so that all the highs, hear how tinny that delay sounds? There's more high end on there, and then I cut out the low end. So with any DAW or any delay effect plugin or 11 rack, line 6, pod, any of those, you can do this kind of thing. But again, I don't have any high cut on, and I have a low cut. So it makes it sound tinny. It accentuates my strumming. And then I'm strumming, again, I'm strumming kind of with that dotted 8th delay, so you only hear the dotted 8th effect as a separate entity, sort of, unless you're listening for the stereo spectrum, or I intentionally deviate with my rhythm. And the deviation here is this. Those 2 notes, or the down and up strum that comes a little faster. Hear that? You hear that stand out, and you only hear the delay when that happens, when I do that fast strum. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. When you're using a lot of effects, if you can, with the way you're playing, strategically hide the effect and then bring it out when you want to with strategic strumming or note placement, it's really, really cool. Now, I also have some reverb on this one, whereas I didn't for our octave line. And we're playing over, some basic rhythm chords that are dry. So I figured, since I don't have a reverb element here, I can kind of verb this one up and it'll be cool. Now, the last effect I have on here is a phaser. It's a model of like a Phase 90 type plugin, but I've got it synced to a quarter note. So when you're playing at 90 beats per minute, the phaser does a repetition of its phase effect every quarter note. It's slower than the dotted 8th, and it provides some smoothness, but you can definitely hear it, doing its phaser thing. Why'd I choose a phaser? Well, I think phaser sounds sound really good with really rhythmic parts like this. Now, you don't want to overuse this kind of thing, but remember, the rest of the track right now is dry. So I can use this kind of wet sound, and it really, really fits well. All right, so a couple more things playing technique-wise. I added the bar in there, again, because if I'm playing to that delay or for that delay, and I put that in there, you're going to hear that phased whammy bar kind of warbly sound after I go back and play a chord. So it helps me diverge from the delay in a strategic place and create some interest. When you add stuff like this, and again, you're playing for the delay and with the delay and bringing it out when you want to, this helps you say more with playing less. A lot of times when we're layering parts, we think we need to add, 19 guitar tracks to something. Well, you don't if you have your parts and your effects set up strategically and correctly for what you're trying to get. Try to get the most out of the fewest notes using the right effect. Before we play this again, let me go over the very end. we have that weird chord change where we go to that E flat. I come up here and I do a double stop, and then I take my bar, and then I play the top half of another G chord. That's really all I'm doing. So don't forget those fast strums. Let's hear it again with the track. With a line like this, it's really important that you're in the pocket. If you start to push too much, your delay starts getting off. If you drag too much, your delay gets off. That's the other cool thing about playing a dotted eighth delay while you're emphasizing the dotted eighth sound, is you can tell when you're locked in because you won't hear it until you start doing something that deviates from that pattern. Now we've got one more lesson in this little mini series where we're going to add a tremolo effect over this chorus section of the track. If you want more great lessons, be sure to check out JamPlay.com.